Alecto has been long identified as a potential wind farm site. We have 5 landowners who own the property on which we're building the wind farm.
It came along at a really good time and we were very keen to jump on board. Would that be right?
Yeah. Yes, and we love the look of them too. I can even remember before they spoke here when we were in Victoria somewhere and we saw them as we were driving around. I said, oh wow, they looked impressive.
The concerns or the angst that was raised previously seems to have quietened down.
Are you concerned about the noise when it's finished?
No, I don't think so. I don't think because it's so far out.
We actually went around to quite a few wind farms before we took it on, and we were pretty satisfied that there's no...
And the sheep graze, that's what I love. You see the sheep and cattle grazing underneath and it's not interrupting the land in any way, and they can still graze right underneath.
No concerns whatsoever. We've lived with the wind towers just across the road here for the last 10 or 15 years, and quite frankly the highway makes more noise than the wind towers.
What about health?
Good for your health. Yeah, look, there was a lot of talk about health and the fact that it's been pretty well disproven that there's nothing to worry about.
I can't see that either. I'm an engineer by trade, and all it is a generator on top of a pole.
We're now working very closely with those 5 landowners as we move into construction, because all 5 of those properties are working farms, and so we will continue to manage to ensure that we don't impact on their existing farming operations, and that they have an operating wind farm and an operating farm at the end of it all. So we'll have 54 wind turbines on the site. They are of 4.2 megawatt capacity. Based on the analysis that's been done to date, we're looking at 500 gigawatt hours per year of electricity generation. That's equivalent to the consumption of around about 80,000 homes in New South Wales. So yesterday we poured our first concrete foundation for the first turbine. It's obviously a landmark event in any wind farm, because that signifies that we're moving beyond the civil stage of work and preparing for the turbines themselves. With the weather it is, it's perfect construction conditions. It does give us a couple of challenges.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a drought. We think very carefully about taking that water.
Our dust problem really comes from the initial clearing, and it's very difficult to mitigate that.
We would really like some rain. As we're right now, we've had a couple of weeks of really wet weather, a flood here one would say, so there hasn't been too much civil work happening in the last couple of weeks. I suppose the good thing about it is that the landowners have all got plenty of water again. I reckon we're about 80% on road. We're going to start putting in the underground cabling, the high voltage cabling, 33,000 volts. All the cabling is on site is underground. We've had a lot of activity down at the port. We've had nacelles and hubs come in. I've got a stockpile of towers down there. Our blades are currently on the water in transit. They'll be here on the 9th of March. The first 63 blades are here, and then about 3 or 4 days later the other 99 are on a vessel behind it. So it's a pretty busy time at the moment. The first components, we're looking to start them on the 2nd of March. So that will start deliveries with towers and nacelles. Alright, so COVID came in about the same time as we started main erecting here.
In mid-March, we started to see the effects of the COVID pandemic spreading around the world.
We had a little hiccup where we stopped for 2 or 3 weeks because one of our vessels got tied up in China with factory shutdowns.
Our transformers for the substation were being manufactured in Wuhan. In addition, we had half the nacelles and hubs for the turbines were also being manufactured in China.
I always had 2 considerations. I needed to keep my workforce healthy, and I wanted to keep them employed. As simple as that.
It meant effectively the site was closed down to visitors.
COVID-19's had a significant impact on our personnel, our subcontractors. Obviously we have people from interstate and intrastate. Some COVID hotspots have been located in those different areas.
We put in a number of precautions.
Every morning when we have our contractors and staff come in, we conduct a fever screen.
We've been very lucky, and people have done the right thing. They're not going to big hubs or on their day off or week off. They try and limit what they're doing because they're really proud of what they're doing here and want to see the job out.
No, that's where we're at. It's all about it's all about me now. Oh, yeah. So I mean, we go through the stages of the work where it's about civil works. Then we go through the stage of the works where the electrical guy needs to get started, and then we bring a crane on site. Then we start erecting, and I always have a simple philosophy with that those other trades can never hold up our works. Obviously the 2 main cranes are quite expensive, and it's about keeping them busy. We're on schedule, yeah. So at the moment, as I sit here, we've got 32 completely up and pushing 43 or 44 main bases and mids up.
That has meant the real disturbance to landowners' activities and kind of shifting of dirt, etc. has now all been completed. Been a good outcome through the last few months.
No, our relationship with the landowner, between us and Rash and Neil, we've spent a lot of time with our landowners.
Thanks, John. It's coming together, and coming together, better than you could have possibly imagined, I think.
I appreciate the employment opportunities that some of the subcontractors have done for the staff here. We've even had girls driving dump trucks.
It's only these few engineering projects that are keeping going and keeping, there'd be a lot of people out of work if it wasn't for this project.
The next big milestone to us will be getting power on.
So what we've got here is the cut-in into the existing transmission line. Transmission lines will cut across from those into a third tower, which is being built up by the substation, connect to the transformers, and that will connect the wind farm to the electricity network and enable us to export the power when it is generated.
Where are we now? We've got the machines running, we've got 51 of them up, and the farm's basically finished now.
The substation, and that is now connected to the national electricity market, which means we are able to export power into the grid. From a commercial point of view, means we're actually able to earn revenue as opposed to just paying out cash for the project. The other good news that we have on site is that it's been a fantastic weather season. We've had lots of rain, lots of sunshine, which means perfect growing conditions.
Floods, we actually had the wettest August on record that we can find anyway for this little area, so we've gone from one extreme to the other.
We still have 3 turbines that are yet to be installed.
We had some met masts on 3 sites. They're just coming down, so we've got the crane back and we're going to build those last 3 machines. We're just doing the final demobilisation of the works and we want to get out of here, to tell you the truth, and give it to our service department to look after for our customer for the next 25 years, hopefully.
It's been pretty successful given the challenges that we faced. We've also managed to ensure that we haven't disrupted the property owners' farming operations too much.
In terms of my general operation, we've had 2 lots of shearing since. They'd done really well in those paddocks. In terms of noise, I consider them less noisy than the ones across the road, which have been there about 10 or 15 years ago. So obviously the technology's improved.
We've been up there when they've been working and nothing to be worried about.
Oh, it's been quite a bonus for me. Yeah, more than happy to have the income from the towers, and it'll ensure the viability of the operation for years to come.
Just to have a contract, that you can say, well, we have some stable income has made a huge difference. Just looking down into the future, we can see the way ahead, and it's not a huge amount of money, but it's that stability that makes all the difference, I think.
Overall, I think it's been very successful as far as we're concerned.
I think our customers are reasonably happy with our performance, or very happy. I'm going to use the very happy. And it's been a well-planned, well-executed job, and good thing about it is really no one ever got hurt doing it.
Farmers often get tagged with being very conservative and anti-climate change and that, but every wind farm that you look at is a result of a collaboration between farmers and the wind industry, and so when you look out and you see all those wind turbines and even the solar farms going in, you just sort of feel, hey, it's proving the point that there's a lot of us that are actually very concerned about climate change and really, proud to be part of the revolution or evolution. I'm not sure, but it's something that we've certainly feel, and hopefully we look back on this period in the future and say, yeah, we did it.